Welcome to the Conflict and War Studies channel. Today we will be talking on Syria. We have witnessed very important and fast developments in recent days, in recent weeks. The SDF, the Syrian Democratic Forces, which the YPG constituted the backbone of this. The YPG is also recognized as a terrorist organization by Turkey. Because of the fact that it is the extension of PKK in Syria, has lost the territories that they have controlled to Syrian armed forces. Before this operation, the SDF was controlling 40% of the territory, 70% of oil fields, maybe 50% of water resources. However, Syrian armed forces have managed to liberate important cities and towns like Raqqa, Deir, Tabqa, and at this moment, the YPG part of it, because the Arab tribal fighters have sidelined with the Syrian armed forces and they supported the Syrian armed forces operation, and now the YPG is in Kamışlı, Ain el Arab, and Hasakah region. And they were forced to sign a ceasefire agreement, not a peace agreement, but a ceasefire agreement with the Syrian government. There are 14 articles in this agreement. We will talk this and the future of Syria with Veysel Biçer. Veysel Biçer is my classmate and he's a retired colonel from Turkish Armed Forces with a distinguished military career. Welcome to the program and thank you for joining me.
Thank you. It's my pleasure. Nice to see you again.
Nice to see you too. We can start talking about the ceasefire agreement. How do you assess this agreement? And are there important articles we can talk on it?
Yeah, I don't know what's the number of these ceasefire agreements since 19th of January, 18th of January. The first meeting was in Erbil. Then agreement has been signed by Damascus and SDF. And then SDF didn't recognize this agreement. Now, today, they say that we accept this agreement. But I don't think that it's an agreement. There's only a ceasefire, and they lost the conflict. And most importantly, they lost the support of the United States. They were dreaming that they could establish an autonomous and semi-independent state in this area with the support of United States. But they didn't foresee the strategic shift, the changing conditions, changing objectives of the United States in this region. In 2019, at the first term, Trump decided to withdraw United States forces from Syria. At that moment, CENTCOM and Pentagon put a map in front of the Trump, and then they said that if we control the oil and gas reserves and also the dams and the agricultural areas of Syria, we may force Assad to withdraw. Also, we will maintain the security of Israel. Also, we may deny Iran from the Syrian side. Also, we may balance the Russian presence in Syria. And Trump agreed on it. And he canceled his decision to withdraw the US troops from Syria, and he continued supporting the SDF. But the conditions now dramatically changed. First of all, there's a new government in Damascus, and it has been accepted by United States and the European Union and Gulf states, most importantly Saudi Arabia, and it has been supported by Turkey. And this new state needs these resources to provide economic development. And for the security of Israel, the government is very soft on those issues. And it always says that we will not threaten our neighbors. We will focus on our people's economic development and the regional stability. That's why the United States changed side. But SDF and the YPG didn't recognize these developments. This is the real situation on the ground. They are living in a very big disappointment.
Yes, and they were given a large territory. And it was a terrorist group. I mean, it was stated many times in many platforms by Turkey that they shouldn't be given such support. However, the United States supported this group. European countries supported YPG. But now, when the situation changed, they cut their support, as you rightly mentioned. It seems like they will be joining the Syrian armed forces individually after a security screening. They were dreaming to join the Syrian armed forces with maintaining their command and force structure. This will not happen, and they will join individually. Do you think that this joining individually may create some problems for the Syrian armed forces?
Before coming to this issue, let's say before the civil war, there were three Kurdish cantons of Syria: Kamishli, Kobani, Ain al-Arab, and Afrin. Now we come to the very beginning. They lost Afrin as well. Now there is only Kobani and Kamishli. Hasakah is an Arab majority province. Kamishli city is inside the Hasakah province, but the Hasakah city is mostly Arab. I don't think that YPG has a leverage on his hands to play the further game. Now the game is over, and they know it. But if they decide to fight, there will be a bloodshed inside Kamishli and Kobani. But I know that the Damascus government is very keen not to do things with the force and the causing bloodshed, because it's very unfortunate image for them in the international arena. So I think they are going to do it with negotiations, but the agreement is very clear. There will be only light armed domestic security forces will be present in those cities. Which cities? Kamishli and Kobani. There is no exception. For Hasakah, maybe Kurds may offer a governor, and if Damascus accepts it, it may approve. From now on, the game is over for them, and they have to see this. They shouldn't resist anymore, because the resistance will cause a bloodshed.
Okay, they hoped that Israel will help them. What's the situation about Israel at this moment? As you know, the Israel policy in the region is to destabilize the region, because when there is a stability in the region, Israel fears that the regional countries may unite and can defeat Israel. For this reason, the main Israel policy in the region is always to destabilize the countries and to make them be engaged in internal fights. So in this situation, the United States policy has shifted, as you said, and the United States wants a stable Middle East, doesn't want any conflict in the region, wants trade, investments, and so on. However, the main Israel approach contradicts with the main US new policy.
Yeah,
So,
exactly.
how will Israel align with that?
No, I don't see that. Yes, they were the last call from YPG to Israel to help them. And at the Erbil meeting, some report says, at the Erbil meeting, they put this card on the table by Mazlum Abdi. Mazlum Abdi says that I will seek the Israel support if you don't support us. And the ambassador of the United States, Tom Barrack, talked very unpolite way that who do you think you are? We have two strong allies in this region. One is Turkey, the other is Israel. And now you are trying to conflict those two allies each other. Who do you think you are? U.S. policy in this region to prevent any conflict between Turkey and Israel, because two of them are most reliable allies in the region and two major powers in Middle East. And it's a worst dream for United States to see Israel and Turkey is conflicting each other because of YPG. For my opinion, I think there is a untold divide in Syria, areas of influence. I think that Syria, Israel will not deal with the northern side, and Turkey will not deal with the southern side. I think I don't have any official report or thing, but I think there is an untold agreement, and I think it's feasible because everybody's looking for their borders. We may talk about Israel, but if we look at Turkey, 1,600 kilometers border, and this border is not a natural border. It's just a railway. It's just a railway, Berlin-Baghdad railway, and all those cities, towns are the railway stations from east to south, east to west. Nusaybin and Kamışlı, just divided by the railway. Ceylanpınar and Resuline, Akçakale and Tel Abyad, Suruç, Kobani Bayn el Arab, Karkamış, Cerablus, Öncüpınar, Azez. Those are just towns at the north and the south of the railway.
Yes.
So it's not a natural border. So we are very concerned about our security in the south. So it's not the same for Israel. What's the deal for Israel to do with to do business with the Kurds? There's no deal. And if United States puts its pressure on Israel, there's no way for them.
Now the question is, after resolving the situation in the north, is to resolve the situation in the south with Israel. Syria and Israel will likely have a security agreement, but the precondition of this agreement for Syria side is that Israeli forces leave Syria. At this moment, Israeli forces are in Hermon mountain and in some areas which are close to Damascus region and also in some parts of Deir. So the expectation of Syria is that Israel forces leave Syria, and then Syria agrees for the Golan Heights, recognizing the Golan Heights as Israeli territory. However, it seems like Israel may not want to leave the current areas which it illegally occupied in southern Syria. So, do you think that this will create a tension in the coming days or months?
Yeah. At the Paris talks, first time Israeli and Syrian officials get together to discuss those issues with the United States ambassador. I think the number one issue for the Syrian government is to maintain the unity with the northeastern Syria. So at this meeting, some reports, Syrian government was very softly on Israeli demands or arguments, but they get the red light from the U.S. government to do this operation, starting from Aleppo. Why northeastern Syria is much more important for the Syrian government? Because all the natural resources, oil and gas fields, and dams and agricultural areas were in this site. And I mentioned before, those has been used by the United States to pressure the Assad regime before. But now it's working against the new Damascus government, which is United States is supporting and helping to create a nation. And so the first priority for Damascus regime is to get the control of this area. So the southern Syria and it deals with Israel, maybe the second priority. And what is Israel's demands? First of all, they will not withdraw from Hermon Mount. Hermon Mount is very important for them strategically because if they put the radars and electric equipment on top of it, they will control all the airspace of southern Syria, and they will control the southern Syria ground level as well. However, on the other hand, at the Deir province, Israel set up some control points and they are conducting operations. They may withdraw from there. They agreed on it, but they want to have the freedom of operation. If they see any threat to Israel's side, they want to have the authority to conduct some operations, and they want the south of Damascus will be freed from heavy armament and anti-aircraft weapons. The reason for this is Israel would want to use the airspace of Syria in any case, especially at the southern side, because it's a very crucial road from Israel to Iran. Anyway,
So,
we
but
will see.
that conflicts with the sovereign nation of Syria. I mean, Syria
Yeah,
wants to regain its sovereignty and wants to
yeah.
establish its territorial integrity. However, it is violated by Israeli forces. So
Yeah,
this
it's
will be
uh,
another point of tension maybe in the coming days, months between Israel and Syria.
yes, there's a new government in Damascus. It just filled 1 year, and there are baby steps on forming its power. And the first priority for them to provide their people uh, some economic growth. So they are focusing on those issues. And yes,
I think we should speak on this. You know that there are 6 million internally displaced people in the civil war.
yeah,
6 or 7 million people of Syria left their country, which half of them or even more than this lived in
mhm,
Turkey and still living in Turkey. There are some refugees returned from Turkey and Jordan to Syria. However, the humanitarian situation hasn't been relieved yet. They do not have enough resources to meet the basic needs of the people. So, how do you see this progress?
yes. I think there is an important support from Saudis and the international uh, arena. And Syria is very important for the Saudis. And Turkey and Saudis are working together on Syria. And also Qatar will provide money. And I think in a midterm or short term that we will see a very rapid growth, rapid economic development within Syria, because historically Damascus and Aleppo are the main trade cities for centuries, together with Lebanon. And those people are uh, very used to trade and making money, making prosperity, and I think they will prosper. And there's a big connection between Turkish side and Syria. I think the main reason behind the Turkish policy of Syria is to make this economic connection between the southeastern Turkey and the Syria. Yeah, Gaziantep, Urfa, Mardin, and these are the main cities which has been very much developed industrially, and they are producing all those products um, to Syria and Iraq as well. And there will be a very big economic connection between the southeastern Turkey and the Syria. So if those issues has been finished, uh, the SDF Kurd issue has been solved, and if there is a stability within Syria, there will be a rapid economic growth, and maybe the refugees in Syria, in Turkey, and all the other regions will come back to Syria, and there will be also a trade connection between those countries. The refugees, which has been living more than 10 years here, uh, will be a bridge between Syria and Turkey.
Okay. So, another important point is that the sanctions are lifted by the United States and the European Union. We haven't spoken about the policies of European countries. We haven't mentioned what France is doing, Syria, the United Kingdom, Germany, Italy in Syria. Do you have any idea about what they are doing in the political process, in the military situation, and economic situation?
Yeah. Yeah, I think they are fully supporting the policies in Syria. I think the France and the European Union is supporting the current Damascus regime, and they will provide financial support for their needs. And I see a bright future for Syria. This is my last word.
Okay. I hope so. I hope we see really a better Syria than now because the people of Syria have suffered very harsh conditions for the last 10 or more than 10 years, 14 years now. Uh,
Mhm.
the people of Syria deserve a better life. Thank you for sharing your thoughts with me on this program. I hope to see you on other programs in the future.
All right. Thank you very much. It was my pleasure. Thank you.